Oop. Okay. See you later. Thank you. All right, so we are back. We got the system put back together. Sorry for all that chaotic footage at the beginning. And as you can see, the dry dock has risen. So you can see the water being pumped out. Those bollards, cleats at the back end are visible once more. Sitting on a metal grating, that's what the grunting is about. Sorry about that. Those are some huge pumps putting out a lot of output, a lot of water to raise this dry dock back up with the added tonnage of 2,050 tons of Fletcher class destroyer inside of it. You can also see the bottom of the rudder where it's been trimmed so that we could get her out of the cradle, and that will be fixed while we're in dry dock. We will adjust the width and the depth of the rudder so that it matches the original World War II rudder rather than the Cold War rudder that KIDD has been sporting for the past 42 years. So that's another one of the tweaks that we'll be doing as she's getting repaired. You can see she's sitting on top of the keel blocks. And it's a combination of steel frames with the wood and the sandbags on top. And this is the one thing that we can't do on the cradle that you can only do in a dry dock. And what that is once they do the repairs and they paint her, then they will float her and shift her, which is called fleeting, and set her back down. Or if they don't fleet her, to take care of those spaces that were touching when they were painting so that everything gets painted. If they don't fleet her, then the blocks are not big concrete blocks. They can pop those sandbags, slide a block out, slide it back into place after they've done their work, and move on. We cannot do that with the concrete cradle in Baton Rouge. So a lot of people for the past 5 years have been asking us, why don't you just fix it here? Well, that's why. We can't do what they can do in one of these dry docks. And we cannot set up the cradle like these wooden blocks because the current of the Mississippi River is far too swift, far too powerful. It would sweep those blocks out of alignment when the ship is afloat. We have to be able to anchor the keel blocks that she sits on, otherwise she'll continually run aground every time and damage herself.
Good, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
They're getting close now, and as you can see, our tug and pushboat escorts are still hanging out nearby. ready to latch onto the dock when they're done and take her over to the repair yard.
On the water.
If you look at the mooring pylon on the side of the dry dock, you'll notice we are just about to reach the point where we were when we started this process. There's 4 strakes to the right of that pylon, and we were just underneath that 4th strake when all this started. And then, of course, when it sank, the top of that, the fat part of that pylon went well above the dry dock wall, and now it's almost back into position. And when it reaches there, that's when they will likely cast off, and she will sail away over to down the canal and over to the repair yard. If anybody has any questions, we've got a few minutes to go before the movement starts, before the dry dock finishes. Shout out with any questions. We very much appreciate hearing from the Texas and the Alabama and the New Jersey throughout the day, checking in on us. We love our sister ships. None of the subs checked on us, but that's okay. We understand how it goes, and you know, we're not going to hold it against them. We did think cod was sneaking up on us at one point. Some of this vegetation floated by, and it had a really tall set of fronds that really looked like it was trying to disguise a periscope, and we were all kidding around that cod was trying to sneak up on us. Personally, I didn't think it was cod. I thought it was Bakuna. Becky has a love-hate relationship with us. We're both Lord of the Rings fans, but sometimes that's not enough to keep a sub away from a destroyer, or vice versa. So, or no. What do you want? Oh, okay. If you look real closely, you see against that blue sky right there, that is our drone from Hunter's Botanics. And I'm looking around for Hunter. Let me answer the question real quick. Hunter, this is Hunter right here. Say hello, Hunter.
Hello.
Hunter, if you will, what's your bird, the specs on your bird? Somebody was asking.
Mavic 2 Zoom.
Mavic 2 Zoom.
And about 5 years old now.
About 5 years in age.
Yeah, it shoots 4K, average speed of 30 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does a good job. People have been commenting on the videos going downstream and coming up the canal. So
yeah, here, take a look at this.
Oh, here we go. Can I get a focus on it? A little bit. Oh, there we go. Yeah. That's some fantastic footage, folks. You're going to see videos of drone footage coming soon. That's just a taste of it. But all of that is courtesy of Hunter, our documentary crew, and we greatly appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, and I spy with my little eye a straw hat that is hiding someone that people have been asking about. Mr. Parks, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Kid is out of the water for an overhaul that she's been needing for over 60 years now.
60 years, yeah. I see the floor of the dry dock is finally visible.
Yep.
That's just within the past couple of minutes.
And she seems to be sitting very solidly on her keel block. Sandbags providing a little bit of cushion. And she's going to be pretty clear with a dry floor here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So this is great. This is what we have all been working for years now, trying to get to this point, and it's finally happened.
A lot of people over a long period of time making
Yeah.
it work, passing the baton from one to another.
Yeah, but I really got to give kudos to our moving crew, who are the ones that did the final stretch. Once we got the funding to bring her into dry dock, there never was enough time to get her ready to go. In fact, she's still not ready to go, but she's there.
She's here.
She's there. And now I don't have to worry about flooding alarms on my app anymore.
That's what I was saying earlier. I said tonight's the first night that in a long while, other than when the ship was sitting in the cradle and the river was away, tonight's the first night I can stop worrying about alarms. So.
Right. So, this is great, and this is where the real work happens.
The accelerator is going to get pressed hard.
Yeah, the museum crew's been great. They've been doing work that could be done in Baton Rouge, even some configuration changes. But this is the only place that she can get the major hull work done and some major metal work done that will not only make that hull last another 60 years, but also to bring her ever more closer to 1945.
And we can do that, you can do that, helping us by going to USSKIDD.com and donating. And
Yeah,
I haven't seen the final tallies yet. I think that takes a couple of days to tally, but I think there might possibly be a reenacted scene of a Titanic sort of story coming forward, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look for the tallies tomorrow.
I cannot escape my Titanic
You
past.
cannot escape. You will
Tried
never
to
escape.
shed it and threw my all into this, and it follows me wherever I go.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is.
No, it is. Hey,
It is what it is.
unlike Titanic, this one's not going to become a rest.
There you go.
We're keeping this one here with us.
You will never have to dive on her.
No. This is absolutely fantastic, and we did get a one-time. What's that?
All American Travel says Tim and Parks doing Jack and Rose on the bow. All American, I'm telling you now, that will never happen.
Oh,
Unless you are willing to put out a lot of money. I don't sell myself that cheap.
okay, Jack and Rose on the bow. That's overdone. No, we had to do something within our budget, and I've got some ideas here. We'll do an even more iconic scene than the bow shot. You just wait.
Well, and we do have Hunter with his drone, so at some point anything on the bow is possible, but only with Hunter, because we don't have a good enough camera to zoom from the city
but
dock.
we're gonna, what's a romantic shot with hard hats,
Actually, I don't know that it's been done before, so that might be unique.
No, I just want to say that, yes, we did get money from the state for this one-time entry into Drydock, and we have a contract in which they're going to perform the necessary work. But the more money we can raise while we're in the shipyard, her time here will be extended and more work can be done. So,
All right.
Again, everything's for the ship. Taking her back to be a time capsule of 1945 is the way that we intend to pay homage to the veterans that sacrificed so much, and especially to the World War II era and the Greatest Generation.
And I want to throw a shout out, thank you, to whoever just donated $20. The screen is I got a bunch of glare on it. so I can't really see a whole lot of it, but whoever did it, thank you so much. We appreciate all the help.
Okay, yes, thank you. Every bit helps.
All right,
Okay.
we're looking up, and we are almost there, folks. We're almost underneath that fourth strake. I would hazard a guess. What do you think, guys? About another foot?
At least.
At least another foot. I don't think we have a single dry person here. I think we're all sweaty. That car ride going back to home, going back to Baton Rouge is going to be a ripe one. Anybody got any questions? Shout out while you got us. Cool, man. We appreciate people like you. That's a stellar comment. Stellar comment. Thank you for joining us and watching. I see 16 people tuned in right now, and that is fabulous. We appreciate that. And just as soon as I said it, they bailed. 13 people. We really appreciate it. We know some of you are watching from work, so don't get in trouble with work. The last thing your boss needs to hear is me blathering on about ships and donations and history. But then again, if you think your boss is so inclined, bring him in. See if the company is willing to donate. That is a lot of water. And unfortunately, I don't know how many gallons of water this thing takes on. We say 90 to 95% of the ship still functions. The ship's electrical system still functions. Ventilation fan still functions. All 5 5-inch guns, with the exception of number 5, are still capable of rotating. So in that case, 51, 2, 3, and 4 are capable of rotating. 51, 52, and 54 are capable of elevating. The 20 millimeter guns were all capable of elevating and rotating. Some of them were a little more gummy than others, but they were still capable of movement in all directions. We're going to be freeing up that gumminess when we restore them in Baton Rouge. The 40 millimeters were capable up until a few years ago of rotating and turning. Some of them lost some of those capabilities, but they're gone now to the Battleship Texas for restoration, and those will come back working just like new. The plumbing systems still work, and let's see, I already said the electrical systems, all the lighting systems. We have the radars set up to where they can turn. We had a little trouble with a lightning strike a few years ago, and we got busy with the leaks and did not have time to put that back together before we got down here. So that will be returned to operation. The only thing really major systems-wise that is not capable of being put back into service are her engines. Of course, you don't want to you know, put the radar systems back online so close to the airport and be emitting radiation from those systems. You also don't want to be emitting radiation when the ship is occupied by visitors. Same thing for the sonar dome. We don't want to be pinging and messing up people going up and down the river. So that's about the systems that don't work and the systems that do work. Did that answer your question? Oh, and the torpedo tubes still traverse. Battleship Massachusetts helped us out last year. They let me come in and photo document and measure their straddle sink and their prophylactic station. That's one item that when we get back to Baton Rouge, after all of this stuff is done, we'll turn our attention to that and start fabricating a straddle sink and rip out a museum mod where there's a porcelain toilet sitting in the aft head, and we will put that straddle sink and prophylactic station back into place. And another little educational point to go along with the red toilet seat. Something's going on behind me that's a little fishy. I'm hearing clapping, but I don't think it has anything to do with me. And if it is about me, I don't care. So, never leave your coworkers on your six because hilarity will ensue, folks. That's a tip from yours truly, especially when you work on a ship with a pirate as the mascot. I want to take a moment and thank all of you that have been tuning in regularly throughout the day. We appreciate the interest. We appreciate the support. Knowing there are people out there who love KIDD like we love KIDD means the world to us. If you're just tuning in and you're not familiar with it, we do have the Super Chat. And the Super Chat allows you to donate a certain amount. And you can donate, all of you together, cumulatively. Parks has appeared on camera, but Parks can also reenact a scene from Titanic. If you hit $50 cumulatively, oh no, 50 or 100? $100 cumulatively. And if you hit 200 cumulatively, then he's going to do a Titanic dance for you. It won't be today. It'll be sometime later on, pre-recorded. I don't know what a Titanic dance is, and I'm a little afraid of it.
I challenge Ryan to a dance-off.
All right, there you have it. There's an official challenge, a gauntlet thrown down from the little boy, the small boy destroyer, to the huge battleship, New Jersey, the faux New Jersey girl. And yeah, let's see what happens with that. Ryan, Libby, if you're watching, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Parks wants a dance-off with Ryan. Not dancing with Ryan, but dancing off against Ryan. Let's make clear on that one. I ascribe to the band Genesis from the 80s and 90s. I can't dance, I can't sing, I'm just standing here selling everything. Notice that was spoken word and not singing. There's a point. We are below that 4th strake. It's still pumping water. Let's hope the dry dock doesn't have any holes in it, huh? That would be bad. Somebody said that it was 64% humidity today in Homa. I think that's a lie. It's hot out here, folks. There is no tree cover, nowhere to hide. We brought these tents with us, and you can see my compatriots are hanging out in the shade. If you want to say thank you for me standing out here live streaming in the heat and the sun, you can throw another $10 on there. I will not object. Anybody have any questions? Now's the time. You've got me trapped. I'm not going anywhere. Hit me, hit me, hit me. By the way, I'm going to throw out an alert for everybody. USS Sullivan's will be going to dry dock. She needs your help. Her and Croker will be sharing a dry dock. If you can't donate the Kidd, or if Kidd is not your favorite ship, Lord knows why, but you know, hey, she is a pirate. Pirates can be off-putting. But feel free to help out Sullivan's if you can't help out Kidd. And Cobia up in Manitowoc is going next year, 2025, to dry dock, and they need all the help that they can get as well. So don't forget our sisters in the historic fleet. Everybody needs help. Hashtag one fleet. All the movement of the water coming off the dock has cleared out most of the vegetation growth that I was complaining about the smell earlier. That in itself is a blessing. We appreciate that. Got some speed on this vegetation coming in. The wind is kicking up a little bit. It looks like the output has slowed a little bit. You can't see too much coming out of this wall closest to us. So that might be a good sign. We might be nearing the ends and approaching movement. No. I want to take a moment. I want to introduce you. Let's see. You know what would be cool? Navy does war games with other nations and had them participate in vintage World War II. That would be interesting. I'm going to introduce you to some folks. You've probably already seen them, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what hand they had in this dry docking. So starting from left going to the right, we've got Gabrielle Fulton, our collections manager. We've got Warren Bordelon. Warren, what's your title now?
Now it's operations manager.
Operations manager. He was assistant ship technician. Yeah. And Elijah Otto is our curator. So getting ready for this dry docking, leading up to moving the ship, Warren was working with Nate Bergeron and basically going around where the aluminum decals had rotted through all the steel that it was bolted to and replacing the wasted metal, which is not a fun job in summer heat like this. But he and Nate got her sealed up so that when they start blasting the ship, we don't have aggregate flying all through the interior of the ship and we'll have to vacuum the ship out. All sorts of prep. Warren came up with a system to let our anchor windlass actually get back in service, and we dropped the anchor for the first time in 20 plus years, almost 30 years. And then Elijah and Gabby oversaw a crew that took and removed all of the artifacts, loose artifacts, from the ship. How many do you guys think you removed?
We probably removed about 4,000 individual items.
About 4,000 individual items coming off the ship. And of course, we removed them because if we're going downriver and we got leaks, we don't want to lose all those artifacts if she sank in the Gulf. And we certainly don't want anything to happen to them if there's a fire while she's dry docked, while she's undergoing repairs. We did see Bonhomme Richard in San Diego catch fire while under repairs. So they are protecting the history by removing it from the ship. And I started removing objects in November of last year. Late October of last year, and Kidd was out of the cradle and at McKinney shipyard tied up waiting to go downstream when they pulled their last handful of items off. And we've removed a little bit more in a couple of spaces here that we didn't get to, but by and large, these two folks removed a huge percentage of artifacts to make sure that they stayed safe. And I just wanted you guys to meet them and recognize them. This is what our job went through. What is that, 5, 6, 7 months? 7 months time moving over 4,000 artifacts. That's phenomenal. And then Warren also getting the ship physically ready. And all of these guys were on our Tiger team in case the alarms went off overnight and we needed somebody fast, which we did in February. We had a leak that kind of got out of hand, and we pulled about a 48-hour shift between about 6 of us and kept things under control until McKinney Shipyard and Barrett Shipyard could respond and help us. So round of applause for these guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all coming on camera and letting me brag about y'all a little bit. How does this make you feel, guys? Elijah?
Makes me feel really, really good.
Yeah?
We're doing something, preserving history.
If you couldn't hear him, really, really good. Preserving history, and what was that last part?
One-of-a-kind ship, so we got to do everything we can to save it.
She's a one-of-a-kind ship. We got to do everything we can to save it. I'm repeating it because there's a lot of background noise. Oren, how about you?
I feel good about it. It's a lot of work put into her to get her at this point, so I'm really proud of everybody, what they did to make this happen. Like Elijah said, it's preserving history. There's only 4 of these ships left in the world, so it's important to make sure that we maintain, take care of her the best that we can.
Amen. Gabby?
I feel very accomplished. I feel like we got a lot done, getting all the artifacts off. So it feels really good. So, yeah.
You guys should be proud. All right. I don't think this thing's ever going to stop pumping out.
Probably not.
Yeah, we're just going to be here all night. It's going to be pumping. I thought we were close. Guys, do you have any questions out in internet land for Gabby or Elijah or Oren while we've got them on the spot? Shout
Also,
out.
Check out YouTube page. I got a YouTube series I'm starting about different parts of the ship with the binnacle, starting with that one. Got some really good feedback on that one. We filmed one today where we hear that should be up later next week. So check that stuff out.
Ferris.
Various.
Ferris.
Various. There's an I in there somewhere.
Oh, it's Ferris wheels?
It's magnetic. It's magnetic. And then non-ferrous is magnetic.
And this goes back and forth, folks, all day long. You see Gabby laughing. This never stops. The team enjoys each other. They enjoy working with each other, and there's very, very rarely any bloodshed that we will admit to. So,
Yeah, hit, scraping your kneecap on a stair.
yeah.
On a ladder.
If you really, really want to laugh, folks, I'm telling you right now, go to our YouTube page, go to the playlist called The Safety Zone, and watch Nathan and Elijah reenact some of these old Jimmy Stewart pilot training videos. That's the inspiration behind it, where Elijah does everything wrong,
Everything.
just like Jimmy Stewart did as a pilot, and Nate shows you the proper way to move through a ship, a museum ship, and not get hurt and not damage the ship or do things you shouldn't do while touring a ship. It is hilarious. It is side-splitting. I was accused by one of our coworkers who's no longer with us here, moved on to a different job. She said I was giggling like a schoolgirl while I was editing that video just from watching Elijah and Nate go back and forth. You will not be disappointed. Safety Zone number 1, Safety Zone number 2. Highly recommend it. What's your favorite video so far we've done, guys? Gabby? Oh.
I like all the kid bits.
She likes all the kid bits. And you know what? She's sucking up right now, and I love her for that. All right. Oren, how about you?
Good question.
It's a good question. He's going to mull on it. Elijah, you?
I like all the videos that I'm in.
You liked all the videos that you're in. That's good. You should.
I like pretty much our entire video archive.
Yeah.
It's right up our alley.
I think we got some good content
Oh,
going.
we have a variety of content. It's not just history. It's not just education. We got something for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the little game show stuff that we do every once in a while.
Yeah.
The folks kind of enjoy being on the screen instead of just us being us all the time. All right, coming back to you. You had time to percolate. What do you think?
Probably the Corsair video that you did. That was a good one.
You like the Corsair video? Okay. Very good. Very good. We have a few aviation fans.
That's different.
Yeah. The Russian ship at Battleship Cove. Yeah, unfortunately, she is no longer there. The Hidden Sea got sent away, and she has since been scrapped. So, sorry to hear that you shed blood on her. I have shed blood on 2 museum ships so far. One is the Kidd, and the other one is the Razorback in North Little Rock. I ripped the flesh right up the bone of my left leg going down a ladder, and the ladder was right beside a toolbox, and I caught the corner of that toolbox and bled all over it like a stuck pig. Greg Zahner in North Little Rock, shipkeeper there on the Razorback, will attest to that. I left my DNA all over Razorback. So sorry about that, Greg. He wouldn't let me clean it up. He said he would take care of it later. Yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Pool Man. It was a sad sight to see. I saw her literally a week before they took her away. That was back in September, early October of last year. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no water coming out of the exit ports for the wall tanks think we may be nearing the finish line. The boats have not moved yet. Let's see what happens. They may still be pumping out of the floor tanks. Rougarou Fest in October. All right, All-American, you're a local. You're going to have to explain what the Rougarou is, because I'm from Central Louisiana and I cannot interpret that. So if you don't mind, throw in what is the Rougarou in the comment section for everybody. I think it's a swamp boogeyman or something. By the way, I can't resist. I've resisted all day. I'm going to throw this out. To our friends in Houston and Galveston, please note that our rudder is not 14 degrees to starboard or to port. It is dead on. I said it. I live with it. Enjoy. Hashtag one fleet. Rougarou is a Cajun werewolf that lives in the swamps and is often accused of doing devious things. All right, and so somebody built a festival around that. Very interesting. No? Sure. Okay. We have somebody that's shy that doesn't want to be on camera. I'm going to talk about him for a second, though. Mr. Jim Johnson, that's Hunter's grandpa. And Mr. Jim and his son Jeff came out back in 2020. And they did some initial random soundings, ultra soundings of the hull throughout the ship. And that's the soundings that we took. And it kind of sealed the deal and showed us exactly what the problem was, that it was the touch points that were causing the problems for us, causing the leaks. And that's what we were able to use to go and make the case that the Kidd is solid. The Kidd is in good shape. It's the touch points that are the problem. And we were able to demonstrate at that point that she's not a lost cause. She can be fixed and she can be saved for future generations. And it won't be a huge, huge expense, that it's well worth what the Kidd has brought to the community. And I've said this in past live streams, and I'll say it again, folks. Museums, whether it's a ship museum, a children's museum, a science museum, a historic house, whatever, museums put back into the community $5 for every dollar that is put into it by a government entity, whether it's the state, whether it's the federal government, whether it's a municipal government, city, parish, county, what have you. For every government dollar that goes in, $5 goes back into the community. So look at your museums as an investment in your community. And I forget the big foundation that does the research on what's the best community in America, that sort of thing. But one of the things they look at is how many museums you have in your community. Having a robust museum community in your area means that your community is healthy. So keep that in mind. Even if you're not supporting the Kidd, you can support the museums in your community, and you're supporting your community. And I'm getting off my soapbox. Mr. Jim, thank you so much for helping us with that. The flow of water off of the floor of the dock is slowing. There's nothing coming out of the walls, but the boats have not moved yet. We shall see what is coming. If if you don't want to hear me blathering on, send me some questions, folks. Hello, Mark. Thanks for joining us. If you have a question, hit me with it. John Thomas, thank you for the question. This is her going into the dry dock. And she will be, I can't say how long she'll be in the dry dock, but will be in the yard at least through December. How did the kid avoid having, and I lost it, it faded from sight. Let's see if I can pull it back up. And let's see, where is, how did the kid avoid having its rudder at an angle like the Texas? Well, the way that we avoided that was that nobody made a turn to get into a slip. She was brought in and maneuvered by tugs, push boats into the cradle. So she did not come in under her own power like apparently, I'm assuming Texas did. I believe that's the rumor that I've heard about why her rudder was turned, was that she steamed into that slip under her own power. Travis Davis, any of the Kyles, Candace, anybody over at Battleship Texas, if you can answer that question about how your rudder came to 14 degrees starboard, chime in if you're watching. You can probably find it if you go over to their Facebook page and do a keyword search for rudder. It's a huge discussion topic. But yeah, kid left Philadelphia under tow, so I'm assuming her rudder was locked into place and never veered from zero. Good question. We have people on the floor of the dry dock. Should just be a matter of time. All that creaking and grinding, folks, is not the kid. It's the new construction going on behind her. Ah, here we go. We actually have movement. You know, I never guessed that that forklift would be able to drive behind the rudder, but looks are deceiving. There's a lot more room there than what it looks like. And you know, I didn't think about it, but there were people on board KIDD when she went into the dock, and she's not sidled up against the sides. So I am assuming, yes, that is a floating dry dock, Mark. I am assuming that they are having to build a stair tower, or at the very least maneuver a pre-existing one into place so that those guys can get off of the ship. Folks in the chat, let me know if you can hear me, because I'm getting to the end of battery life on my microphone. I just want to make sure you can hear me. Thank you. I appreciate that. If USS KIDD had an avatar like an Azure Lane, would she look like Maureen O'Hara, Gina Davis, or Keira Knightley? Well, I don't play Azure Lane, but I am familiar with it. Honestly, I have to say I would prefer an avatar from... No, I'm not 12. I would say I would prefer to have an avatar more like something that they have in Cankly. A little more tasteful, I think. That's just my personal opinion. I don't play any games like that. My background, I am a video game addict, and World of Warships offered me a beta testing account for World of Warships when they put KIDD into it, and I thanked them very profusely, and then offered to pass it on to somebody else that would play it, because if I start playing a game, I cannot stop playing the game, to the point to where I would lose my job with the real USS KIDD trying to play the computer USS KIDD. So yeah, I don't play any of those games for a reason. I have the real thing here. So I'll have to pass that question on to somebody who actually plays the games, but unfortunately they've already left for the day, heading back to Baton Rouge. So I'll get back to you on that. I will tell you, whenever I channel KIDD on social media, I channel her speaking in the voice of Betty White. So I don't know if that helps or not. Should I be using a pirate voice for KIDD? Possibly, but KIDD's an 82-year-old pirate, and if you've watched any blooper reels of Betty White, you know she's pretty ribald. So I think it's fitting, but you know, in your mind, you use whatever voice for KIDD that you want to hear. I imagine a very ribald 99-year-old Betty White's voice. Particularly when she's clowning around with Ryan Reynolds. So, what I wouldn't have given for Betty White to do an appearance in a Deadpool movie. I hear more noise approaching. See what we got. Another forklift. Different one. And the forklifts aren't hitting our rudder, so that's good. We don't want an artificial 14-degree turn to starboard. Well, folks, all the pumping has ended. We're waiting for the tugs to move. Just to conserve power on my phone, I'm going to go ahead and shut this particular live stream down. When we start moving, we'll do one last live stream. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification bell. And as soon as we start up, you'll get the little ding dong. Thank you so much, and we'll see you shortly.